Hello and welcome everybody to this XTB Monday market wrap. My name is Walid Koudmani, Chief Market Analyst for XTB. And in this brief video, as always, we're going to be covering what's the main events happening in the markets, what to keep an eye on in the economic calendar point of view. We're going to take a brief look at the charts and just keep you up to date with what's happening this week and what to keep an eye on. So we're going to start with just a brief overview of what's happened so far. I'm sure many of you have been hearing about the drama surrounding the crypto space after FTX, the very famous broker based in the US, declared bankruptcy, and the owner has been basically detained at this point. So a lot of drama surrounding the crypto space, a lot of uncertainty, even more so than usual. And we've seen a bit of a decoupling of the correlation between stock markets and crypto at the moment, with stock markets attempting to recover and having a decent performance while cryptos continue to be under severe pressure. On the front of macroeconomic and geopolitical data, very important event actually today is the G20 taking place in Bali. We saw already a meeting between the US president and the Chinese president, which seemed to be constructive and improved spirits a little bit in the markets and throughout the world. At the same time, we have some speeches from the Fed, ECB, BoE and SNB, in addition to US earnings season continuing. And of course, I'm going to show you some charts as well. So let's just take a quick look at this calendar section here from today. Again, as I mentioned, not that much from data perspective, but we have in the Asian session ahead. So tonight, or Tuesday night, Tuesday morning, RBA minutes at 12:30 midnight GMT, and then 2 a.m. China monthly activity for, and then we have here the list of central bank speeches that we've had today. So not that much as far as Monday, but again, we're coming off of a very intense week with a lot of news surrounding the market. So we've definitely seen some moves. Let's take a look very quickly at the charts as well, just to keep you up to date. Pound, strong recovery by the pound, trading almost at 118 actually, reaching a high of about 118.5. And you can see that all overlaid here on this level of the charts, of course. You also have the Euro USD holding about 103, 104, but if you see, it looks quite similar to this chart of the pound. So if we overlay a USD index chart on top, which you can see here, I'll show you here. Basically, they're moving in inverse relation, where as the USD index drops, this pair is gaining as well. As far as oil prices, once again, stuck within this consolidation range despite some positive sentiment from China, about 94, 95 at the moment on Brent, but you can see pulling back from these highs just reached recently at the beginning of the month, around $100. When it comes to instead WTI, we're going to take a look at the same thing. Very similar chart, 87 though, with pulling back from the recent high. Some positive sentiment, but on the technical level, you can see here, this area tested as a support several times and then broken, and now potentially acting as a resistance or a price reaction area, as you can see here as well. So it could be interesting what happens from this point of view, despite the fact that there is some decent macroeconomic data to suggest or to support the prices of oil when it came to this move up here, at least. As far as indices, we can see the DAX on the daily, still third green candle potentially in a row, after some positive moves, as you can see in the last few days, staying above the 8 EMA on the daily. And then if I show you, for example, some US indices, see US 500, very strong recovery and consolidation after the sideways move from the 3,750 points to about almost 4,000 points, the highest level since the early parts of September, and breaking past this level, but we'll have to wait and see how this develops as well on this technical area. A similar situation for the NASDAQ. Again, earnings season continues. There are some quite important earnings. I'll show you here very quickly. Top stock reports, you can see here, this week we have Tyson Foods today, before, and then we had tomorrow, Home Depot, Tencent, Walmart, then Wednesday, Cisco, Lowe's, Target, Nvidia, Alibaba, Macy's, Ross, and then Friday concluding with Foot Locker and JD. So still, of course, we're done with the mega caps, we're done with a lot of the big tech companies, but there's still definitely something worth paying attention to in the stock reports that are coming out this week. And of course, any news from central banks as we head into the final month of the year and the final trading month of the year, and as well as the final central bank meeting of the year, which definitely will have a lot of anticipation tied to it. The VIX slightly pulling back. Taking a look at the USD index, as I said earlier, See here, Bitcoin struggling around 1639 or 1639.38, so 16,390 or 400 almost. You can see very sideways move, but still managing to hold despite what may have seemed like a very significant drop. We can still see potentially more, and sentiment remains very, very uncertain. Nat gas, on the other hand, on the weekly, you can see still holding sideways. If I go down to a slower or lower time frame, you can see on the daily or on the 4-hourly, within this range, heading upwards as we await this week's as well stock reports or inventory reports from the US. UK 100, similar situation, pulling back from this high, but positive sentiment. And then, as I mentioned, the pound also doing quite decently today. So as far as news is concerned, as I mentioned, worth keeping an eye on the earnings season, whatever macroeconomic data comes out. Of course, the news developments regarding crypto and the financial markets may impact investor sentiment in general, because you have to keep an eye on the fact that a lot of institutional investors are now tied into crypto. So a lot of these big banks or big venture capitalists or firms have a holding in crypto. So could have some sort of an impact on those as well as a reaction. But again, we'll keep you up to date with XTB. In addition to that, as I mentioned, oil news can be related to China, can be related to inventories coming out in a few days. And of course, the G20, which seemed to have some promising news come out of it, could be something that resets sentiment in a positive direction as well when it comes to geopolitical. Of course, the Russia-Ukraine conflict continues, and that has an impact on all the commodity markets, as we have seen with oil, not gas, especially now that we head into the colder parts of winter. For all of that and more, we're going to keep you up to date with XTB. This has just been a brief video to outline what the main things are happening and show you how this week has started so far. So hopefully this was useful. My name is Walid Koudmani, Chief Market Analyst for XTB. Good luck with your trading.